You're watching The Art of Safe Scumming, and what I have here is a Skrulk campaign. And we're going to be talking about items today because we just got an update that deals heavily with items. And I've had a little bit of time to play with this to kind of get an idea of what has happened with the item system. Now, this is a campaign that existed before the update dropped, so you cannot expect this number of items at this turn level anymore, because I'm told that the item acquisition is going to be negatively impacted, but the quality of those items are going to increase. So, I mean, you guys can say what you think about that one, but I find myself often overwhelmed with items. As you can see, like, none of these items are equipped. I basically only switch items around when I feel that I need the edge of those. And there are some instances where that is not the case, like Scalms, obviously. Healing items and things like that, very specific instances will I equip items, and most of the ones that are equipped are either auto-equipped or ones that were equipped for a specific reason. But there have been some changes to these items in addition to kind of the rarity and what it does rebalance. They've changed some of these items that were previously basically worthless. So for instance, like this one, the Earthing Rot, I never used this, right? Maybe I've used it like 20 times in all of my experience with Total War Warhammer. In very specific instances. However, there is now a passive, which is Winds of Magic Power Reserve +2 per turn. That didn't exist before. Another one was like the Trickster Shard. Almost never used this thing because it only had this miscast base chance and this Trickster Shard ability, right? It didn't have this attached to it. So they've done some things to tweak these things around. But I want to say that the most impactful thing that they have done is it used to be that if I were to fuse like two Trickster Shards, for instance, green items, to get a blue item, I could potentially get a Talisman of Preservation for that, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it was entirely random what you were going to get. As far as you knew that you were going to get a blue item, but you didn't know what class it was going to be in. So now they've locked those. So if I were to go down here and take those two Trickster Shards and fuse them, I'm going to get an Arcane item, and I'm going to get a Book of Ashur, right? So if I want to target something like a Talisman of Preservation, I could fuse two items that are of the same class and be reasonably sure that we're going to go in that direction. But I also like the Talisman of Endurance. So what if I were to instead take two of these items that I'm not really using very much, like this one? While that's a halfway decent item, and so is that one, they're definitely not as good as a Talisman of Preservation. So if I were to do that, or maybe an Opal Amulet, which, again, okay item, damage resistance, but it's not like end-all, be-all. Fuse those two, I'm going to get a Deepwood Branch. Not really all that impactful for my current faction that I'm playing. So I could take that and fuse it with the Obsidian Lodestone, which actually, now that I look at that, that is a major improvement. Remember, the Obsidian Lodestone previously only did that spell resistance thing. Well, now it's got a 350 hit point barrier. That's actually a pretty darn good item in my book. Anything that provides barrier to something, that's an item that's pretty good. But since we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and fuse this, even though now I would probably keep that item. And, well, bam, look at that, Talisman of Preservation. I now have a logical path to go down for those particular items. They've also added some additional items to the game, and in addition, they have also made it so you can attach multiple banners of the same type to a character, which I've always wondered why we couldn't do that. Unique items are as follows. The Wormslayer Sword is an anti-large slayer weapon. The Scintillating Shield reflects charge and magic. Accursed Armor, strong defense with a curse. Don't know what that is. Don't have one of those. The Briar Sheath, which is a stealth focused armor. The Fellblade, which we'll come back to here in a second, and 8 Burning Books of Corn, risk last reward chain for ultra rare magic books, with major gameplay impacts. So that's cool. They also added the Hobgoblin bolt throwers and the Blood Knights, which we kind of knew was coming. But if we go back to the Fellblade, for instance, to give it an idea of like what that looks like, because this was just like a green item before, and now, oh, that's not it. The Fellblade, excuse me. This thing, let's pick a different character here. I can now not remove that now that I've attached it to this guy, because if I read this, when given to a character, this item cannot be removed for 10 turns. Those wielding the Fellblade cannot recover health in or outside of battle, which means now that I've attached it to this guy, he has to hold it for 10 turns. If he gets like severely damaged in battle, I'm going to have to remove him from the army. He's going to have to come out of the army so that he doesn't get eliminated and will lose the item. But check this out. Attacks cause unraveling existence, effects draining the hit points and instantly killing enemies below 20% hit points. That's a big deal. And then magical attacks, weapon strength against vampire counts, and armor-piercing weapon damage plus 100. I mean, that's a big deal. So this is a prime example, I think, of something that has been dramatically changed from previous iterations. So I guess what I have to say here is I would say that I am much more likely, now that they've changed this to a logical path as far as fusing these items are concerned, I'm much more likely to interact with this system instead of just go in there and hunt for whatever it is that I'm looking for. Because now I have an opportunity to actually stack up a whole bunch of dudes with Talisman of Preservations, right? Which, by the way, has increased to 18%. So anyway, that is my look at the new item system coming with the patch. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see another one here at the Art of Saves coming.
Bombardiers! Yes, yes! Moving! Yes, yes! Give it a name! Slingers! Bombardiers!
Our tile's yours!
Clan rats!
A Jeffrey on them!
Warlord! We serve! March Scarigasa! What orders? For the Vermintide! Contracts will... Get it! Council's command! Our tale is yours! Storm vermin! Stay! Slingers! Yes, yes! Onwards! Ready, ready! Recollect!
Get weapon team in place!
Storm vermin! Get away! Yes, lads! Erupt! Clan rat spears! Forward, backwards!